Okay, well, I assume everyone can hear me. Looks like my speaker's working. We have a pretty good group on today, so I want to welcome everybody who's taking the time out from all over the country. It looks like we've got people from Colorado, people from Pennsylvania, down in Georgia, out in California, Florida, people from all over the country who were smart enough, I think, to take the time out to invest in their business and to learn something. In my trainings over the years, most of you know me. My name's Hank Groff. I'm the Senior VP of Sales and Marketing over at Dynamark, and been in this industry for 25 years, and most of it has been training security companies how to grow their business. And we here at Dynamark, we believe in sharing our information. We don't believe that the best way to win is by being greedy. We like to share a lot of our information. So we're big believers in helping people be successful in their business. And obviously, one of them is teaching people how to grow and be successful. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to teach you guys how to do well in your business and grow it. One of the things I wanted to start with is just show you our website. If you haven't been to it, dynamarkmonitoring.com. And the reason I'm showing you this is to show you that if you are a authorized dealer and you log in up here in the upper left-hand corner, and Jonathan, if you haven't started, feel free to start the recording just so that we can capture all this information. You would log in here. You would then go ahead and put in your username and password. And at this place, you can find all of these recordings available to you on demand 24 hours a day. I believe you can also go to our YouTube channel, which is Dynamark Security, and just type in Dynamark Security, and I believe you'll find it. And it's there that you can find a lot of these trainings, some made to the public, and of course some are private. You will notice here that under resources, under sales resources, you click here, and it is here where you can find lots of various different resources. If you're a Dynamark partner, all of this information is on the dynamarkpartner.com website. If you're just simply a wholesale dealer with us, you'll find this information located here. So I wanted to show you that. Also wanted to just show everyone the partner site and the fact that we have at Dynamark, we're big believers in recognizing the hard work of our partners and our dealers around the country. One of the things that we actually have going on right now is a contest to win an all-expense paid trip to Las Vegas during the ISC West in April of 2018. And the good news is that anyone who joins us and becomes an authorized partner, that is an individual company who is selling accounts to Dynamark on a regular basis, they can qualify to win this trip. As you can see here, we have it listed. If you click the button, it takes you right to the rankings. And I want to congratulate one of our dealers on the call today, who is leading the pack, Atlas Home Security out of Los Angeles, Orange County, California. And they have also attained the first of our partners around the country to attain the level of what we call the Platinum 5 partner. In order to be a Platinum 5 partner, you have to achieve 3,500 total points. And I won't go into detail how these points are calculated. The partners know how they're calculated. But you can see that with our partners around the country, they're doing a really fine job. The total amount you can get, I believe, is only about 4,200 or 4,600. So for them to have 3,700 overall points says a lot about the quality of business that they run. Also, congratulations to Southeast Home Security, Tailored Control Systems, and the rest of you who are shown on the screen. So just wanted to point that out. If you're looking for a company who really does a great job of wholesale monitoring, buying accounts, or just motivating the dealers and partners we have, I think you'll find a great place here at Dynamark. All right, enough said about us. That's our commercial. We move it out of the way so we can get right to our company and training and what you're here for. And that's to talk about the proper sales presentation. So I want to get right into what I have developed over the last 25 years in this industry. A little bit about myself. I won't spend a lot of time, but I started in this business in 1993 selling alarm systems for ADT over the phone. While going to college and raising kids, I sold a little over 10,000 systems in 6 years. They were inbound calls, but I did learn a technique that I'm going to share with you today. I then modified and improved that technique while I began to sell door-to-door in canvassing opportunities as well as professional presentations. I want to point out that the way I teach a professional security sales presentation, this method will and can be used whether you are door knocking or whether you have an appointment. So let's get right into it. The first thing I want to point out is at the bottom under the picture here, you'll notice that there's a gentleman's name by the name of Michael Gerber of The E-Myth. He wrote the book, The E-Myth. And in that book, the mantra of the book is the system is the solution. I am giving you a system to be successful. All you ladies and gentlemen have to do is follow what I teach you. If you do that, you will be successful. So let's get started. You'll notice that this manual, which will be available to those of you who have attended this event, for those of you who are watching this on YouTube, to get this, you're going to have to go to the contact page on dynamarkmonitoring.com, fill it out, ask for the manual, and we'll have one of our regionals contact you. We'll want to talk to you about your business. If you're not part of us, we can be happy to get this manual to you. The first thing I want to talk about is an overview. So let's get started. Most people, when they're talking about selling, what they fail to realize is really marketing is involved in every selling aspect of any selling business. Most people confuse marketing selling as one individual event, but that idea couldn't be farther from the truth. So allow me a moment to give you a very simple definition of the two words sales and marketing. First of all, marketing. It's a method used to earn your way into the door of a prospect with the intention of presenting your product. The key word is earning your way into a door. It could be a knock. It could be spending money to create a lead, but it is earning your way into a door. However, selling is convincing that prospect to trust you enough to purchase whatever product you are presenting to them. That requires you to be in the home or into the office or into the store presenting. The mistake most companies make is merging the two different processes into one. As an example, a company-generated lead costs the company money before it's ever given to the sales rep. Therefore, most companies understand, and let me just grab something here I think that might be helpful in presenting here. I'm looking for, let's see if this is what I'm looking for here. A tool. I'm not going to be too worried about it. Let me see here. Not at all. Okay, not going to worry about it right now. There it is. Sorry, guys. Just making sure that I have something I can point out. There we go. So I'll follow the purple line. If you get lost a little bit, I'll be pointing out a few things as we talk. So the key is, as an example, company-generated leads cost the company money, right? They understand there's a cost associated with that invitation into the home. However, when dealers use sales reps to canvas, they lump both activities. It's the knock on the door and presenting the product as selling as one event. They are badly mistaken. They shouldn't look at it as one event. The process of knocking dozens of doors to be invited into a home is the marketing portion of the process. So once into the home, the sales presentation begins. Let me give you guys, from my experience over many years, some of the ratios, realistic ratios of what you'll expect when you're out there doing these methods of marketing. For example, direct mailers. Maybe it's a mail piece that you've designed that you have a company who mail it out to actual customers. Maybe it's pre-qualified new homeowners. As a ratio, about 500 mailers will equate into one installation. Telemarketing, if you are still doing that type of business, or at least my past experience says, it takes about 250 calls to create one install. Door knocking, for every 100 doors you knock, you'll get one install. Now, some of you on the call are laughing because you're saying, well, I can do 10. Well, why don't you track it for the next month and you tell me what you really ratioed out, and I'll tell you when it's all said and done, it's probably 100 to 1 for most people. Home and garden shows, 50 entry forms equal one install. Paid referral agents, maybe you pay someone who works for you on your behalf. 10 leads equals one install, and personal customer referrals 5 to 1. Now, I know that there are those of you who have done better ratios, but overall in this industry, this is about right. Each one of these costs something. When you knock on a door, if the ratio is 100 to 1, then there's a dollar value associated with every one of those knocks. So when people say, you know, does it cost you to knock on the door? Yeah, it sure does. Let me show you how that works. First of all, let's go down here. That is why there's a cost for each marketing method. The going rate and marketing costs run between zero. That would be where you just had a friend tell you, hey, call my friend. They don't want anything from you. They're really good friends. They're just giving you a lead. All the way up to about $400, which is the typical cost for a direct mailer. All of these costs are known as an MCPA, or a marketing cost per acquisition. So in door knocking, for example, a dealer may pay a rep $500 per acquired system. However, the dealer may consider half the commission to be the MCPA, or in this case, $250. I also know that some of you on the call, and you might get paid in multiples. However, they back out costs like installation. They back out equipment and all that. So when it's all said and done, your income may be $500, $600 per sale. There's a piece of it that is the marketing. There's a piece of it that is the sale. So up above where it says 100 doors equals one install, if 250 is the marketing portion, every time a guy knocks a door, if his ratio is 100 to 1, it's like $2.50 every knock. And so there is a cost, guys. It doesn't matter, however. No matter which marketing method's chosen, the next stage is always going to be the same. Conducting a proper sales presentation in order to be, obviously, to build trust with the customer so they choose your product and company and not someone else's. What is slightly different is how you present your product based on which marketing method you choose. So to classify them easily, let me break them into two categories. First of all, appointment leads. This is an invitation to meet at a certain day and time, which is known to the prospect, or you might call it a company lead. The other is non-appointment leads. It's an invitation created by the sales rep that is not known by the prospect, i.e. door knocking. Depending on which method is used to meet the prospect will determine the process of the sales presentation. It's very similar, just only a few things are slightly changed. After all, if a customer did not expect you to be in their home, the sales rep has to be careful, has to take careful consideration of a person's time limits. That does not mean they can't conduct a thorough presentation. Obviously, you still can go ahead and do a good job. What it does mean, though, is that it simply means you have to be very sensitive to the flow of time. To be successful, no matter which marketing method was used, the sales rep should always understand how the invitation was created. If the appointment was created using a telemarketing script, then the rep needs to know what was said. If it was a direct mail piece, make sure the rep knows and is prepared to answer any questions about the information written on the piecemeal. It seems trivial, but in our industry, many mistakes could be avoided if both marketing and sales communicated better. With that said, let me share you a story of something happened to me over the years that I've been out training companies how to be successful. Many years ago, a company hired me as a consultant to determine if I could improve their sales presentation and close ratio. And this is a true story. I'm reading it, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you the story. They had no problem getting invitations into the home. They had a telemarketing group. They were running leads. They were qualifying. They were following the do not call list. They simply were not closing a good percentage of these leads. So before I conducted the sales training, I rode along with one of their reps. So the day before the sales training, I just rode along. I observed them as if I was a new guy trying to understand the company. You guys have all seen Undercover Boss? That was me. I asked the owner if I could see the script the telemarketers were using to book leads. What they would say on the call was they were mentioning that there was a national rollout of new technology for the homes, and they were promoting the new security system to the public. The key word here is promotion. And we all know everyone loves a promotion. So the marketing team would share the exciting news that provided the homeowner, that if the homeowner helped advertise the company by placing a sign in the yard and paid the monthly monitoring fee, that there would be no cost for equipment or installation. I think all of you here, if you are selling alarm systems, whether you sell $1,000 systems or you sell zero down, you have to create some form of excitement to get in the door. Most of you use the promotion philosophy. We arrived about 6 p.m. to meet a very nice younger couple who had careers outside of the home. They had just bought their first house and were conscious of the need to protect their investment with so much time away from work. So the first 3 minutes, the guy did a pretty good job. I mean, he shook their hands, chatted for a minute or so, and confirmed he had their names correct. However, from that moment forward, it went haywire. The rep then spends 5 more minutes confirming every minute detail about the couple as if he were trying to qualify them before the presentation. Not a good idea. He then begins by asking them to follow him as he walks around the home, instructing them that he was going to install, what he was going to install. And after the analysis was complete, he sat in dead silence, and it took probably a good 2 minutes. As he tallies up their total, then he takes a sheet of paper, pushes it over to him, and says, that'll be $1,417 for a system that they thought they were getting for free. Now, can you imagine the look on the face of this young couple? Can you guess the next words that came out of their mouth? What they said was, what happened to the promotion for the free system? They exclaimed. Needless to say, their face and action said it all. They felt they were just experienced a bait and switch. Now, the guy's embarrassed. So what does he do? He begins to compromise his position by giving up on price. In a matter of 10 minutes, he gave up over $900 of the quoted price without ever asking the couple if they needed all the equipment or was simply overkill in design. So instead, he drops his integrity by dropping his price hundreds of dollars. Now you can see the look on their faces. Now you can see the look of doubt on their faces. If he started at $1,417 and in less than 10 minutes is down to $517, what really was the value of the system, right? Or the value of the sales rep, or the value of the company? I'm sure you can guess the outcome of the story. They took the deal for $517, right? No. They were so untrusting of the rep by this point, they told him they'd think about it, and if they chose him, they'd call him back. Guess what? They never called him back, guys. We will refer to this story in a future section to show you how it's been a success. It did turn out successful, but the guy had to learn a valuable lesson. So, the bad news is that after we left, he truly thought we were going to call him. The good news is, after a 3-day training event, let me move down here so you can see this, he changed his process to follow what I've been teaching and what I'm about to teach you, and became a successful salesman. He even called me one day and told me a similar story. The difference was that he followed my program and ended up with a very profitable sale and a very happy new client. Everybody was a winner. Sadly, most reps make the same mistakes, and so they deliver the same results. Low percentage of closure and low profit margin of sales. The good news is that this module will teach you how to get the results you desire with the same effort, and hopefully double the amount of self-generated sales because you create happy, trusting clients. So, with that said, let's talk about the process that I teach. It's really, and back to Michael Gerber for a minute, the author of the E-Myth. As I mentioned earlier, he says that the system is the solution. Well, wouldn't that be the case for any sales rep? After all, that's their business. So there is a tried and true system that works for our sales presentation. And it doesn't matter which marketing method you're going to be using. It only involves 4 points. So I call it the 4-point presentation. It involves the warm-up, the system demonstration, the walk-around, and the paperwork. And it doesn't matter if you're a door knocker or you spent $400 to get guy invited into the home. It's the same process. Now, you might say to me, that's too simple. And you'd be right. But isn't that the beauty of everything in life? Usually the simpler it is, the better. Okay? So, and if it's simple, it's easier to understand. It is, as I mentioned earlier, system to follow, and one that's going to be used with great success. The only change in the presentation is the length of time based on the type of marketing method that's going to be used. Now, the beauty of this process is in the simplicity, but you're going to need to invest in a few tools to increase your success rate. They will be including in the training program. However, let me list them below. A flip book or electronic presentation on a tablet. I'm going to show it to you in a minute what we've created. We've created a simple one, and you can use it and flow along with the training. I'll go back and forth in my screenshots so you can see it. A second thing is the certificate. I'm a big believer in showing the value of the promotional offer. Therefore, you must show a certificate. Part of the marketing methods typically used. It builds value with the prospect and increases referrals. Now, that certificate can be electronic, and you can show it to them on a tablet for those of you who don't carry paper, or you can create a physical one. But either way, it's the way to do it. You should always carry either a graph design sheet or a notepad. If it's graph paper, it can help you to design the home. If it's a notepad, you simply could draw it out. But somewhere where you can make notes as you go through the home. You won't be able to remember everything, so you're going to have to make notes. And finally, paperwork. Reliable paperwork that can be used on paper or if it's in electronic format. So let's talk about the first section, and that's before we even start the warm-up, let's talk about when we stand at the door. Before the door, in preparation for your knock on the door, you should always take a few minutes to get mentally ready. Now, I've learned that I can dramatically increase my success rate if I visualize my meeting. I may look up my appointment on Google Maps, and I would just go here before I have my meeting. Let's say I have an appointment. I type in right here, 68 Mercer Drive, Newark, Delaware. This is, by the way, the house that I grew up in, guys, so definitely old school, blue collar. But right here, if Google is updated, I can look at the house. I can get an idea what the street looks like. I can see the cars that are around there. I can get an idea, which is fantastic, is the kind of home I'm going to be walking into. Are there toys in the yard? Is there old cars, new cars? What kind of houses do they look like? Blue collar, white collar? This is going to give me a pretty good indication of what I'm walking into. You can even click here and look at the satellite and get a street view, get a satellite view. You can pretty much look at everything you need to do on Google. It's as if before you even arrive there, you could be there. Okay. So with that said, one of the things I also do is I go ahead and visualize myself walking through my appointment. Following the 4 steps, following the 4 processes, I like to imagine myself going through the appointment. I view the house on the outside, imagine walking through, covering as much information as possible. I read the information sheet that I was given for the appointment, and I try to get an understanding of the prospect's needs. If I'm knocking doors, I'll take a quick look at the home and its surroundings. I see that what I like to call the life of the community. Look around the house. Look for things like toys, cars, furnishings, and yard decorations to get a mental idea of whom my conversation will include. So essentially, I do a mental walkthrough of the process as if I were conducting a trial meeting. It only takes a minute or two. It makes a huge difference. All right. I also make sure I have my identification to ensure that I start my initial introduction on the right foot. After all, if I'm a security professional, I should start discussions demonstrating to the prospect that I care about their safety by providing evidence that I am whom they were expecting. I look them in the eye with a smile, shake their hand, thank them for inviting me to the meeting. I'll use the following introduction. And the rest of this meeting, from this moment on, this training today, I'm going to use John and Mary just to make things simple. So I have their sheet. I walk up to the door. I wave, "Hi, John and Mary." If I knock on the door and they come to the door, I just give a friendly hi wave. "Hi, John and Mary. My name's Hank, and I'm here from ABC Alarm, 123 Alarm, for our presentation today of the new system. And I just wanted to say that our commitment to ensure your safety and your peace of mind, it starts right away by me showing you my identification and confirming that I'm the one whom you were told was coming to the appointment." So I would hold up my badge, and I would say, "We recommend never allowing anyone into your home without the proper credentials. By the way, would you like me to take off my shoes so I can keep your home clean as well as safe?" Give them a little chuckle and say, "Hey, that's the best joke I'm going to have, guys. I'm sorry. But if you'd like me to, I'll be happy to take off my shoes. I don't want to make your house a mess." "Oh, no, come on in." Or, "Yeah, that'd be great. Just leave them right here." If I'm canvassing, I'll smile and hand them my business card. Either way, I'm going to thank them for allowing me to come in, and I'm going to offer to take off my shoes either outside or right inside the home, so to respect their cleanliness. If they say it's not necessary, I'll leave them on my feet. Either way, I've respected their home. So that's sort of the intro before we get into the 4-point process. With the 4-point process, we mentioned that the first point is the warm-up. Now, for most reps, remember the guy earlier in the story I told you that his warm-up was just reading detailed information? Guys, that's not a warm-up, okay? That is not warming to the prospect, certainly not to them. Depending on how the invitation was obtained, the warm-up is always the same. Let me give you a few tips and tricks to increase your chances, even if you're not good at warming up and building trust with your customers. 3 points. Number 1, smile. Number 2, nod your head yes. And number 3, say their first name often. Now, let me ask you a few questions. Would you rather look at a person smiling or frowning? Do you usually like hearing someone say yes or no? And finally, what's the sweetest word heard to a person's ears? You see, most sales reps on average say the prospect's name only once when they introduce themselves to the person. Now, I have personally sold over 8,000 alarm systems, and I will say a person's first name on average 40 times during a 1-hour presentation. Once during a training exercise, to prove it, guys, once during a training exercise, I asked a group how well they thought I presented as a sales rep, while asking another rep to silently count how many times I said the customer's name. They said that the presentation was amazingly warm and comfortable. I asked the person how many times I said the customer's name. They guessed, the people in the group who were listening to me, they said, oh, I don't know, a few times. The final number. Now, the counting rep said I said it 47 times. Now, that may sound extreme, but every time a person hears their name being said by the rep, it allows the rep a little closer to what I like to call the prospect's circle of trust. And that is where you're going to hear the word yes come from, a person's circle of trust. All right, so remember that. The second part of a proper warm-up is to perform the art of mental mirroring. That does not mean to mimic the customer. Its definition means to become like the customer you're trying to win. In sales, there's a wise saying. Remember this. People buy from people they trust. People trust people they like. People like people that are like them. So you're not going to win every customer, and there are times when you need to make it strictly business, but it's usually only because that's how they buy. So learn to quickly and succinctly know your prospect. Years ago, when I did sell for ADT, as I mentioned earlier, I sold over the phone. In 1 year, I spoke to over 5,000 prospects. They would call into the marketing center from all over the USA. The only hit I gained when they called was the incoming phone number. So I got to learn the area codes. I knew that 718 was New York, New York. I knew that 601 was Mississippi. So if I was answering 718 area code New York, I answered the phone faster and had a little bit more northern sounding when I answered a 718 call. Hey, thanks for calling ADT. This is Hank. How you doing? You know, what can I do for you? Hey, what prompted you to call? But if I was calling what was more slower, more southern sounding, when it was a 601 call, hey, thanks for calling AD&T. This is Hank. How y'all doing? You know, jokingly aside, I really tried to mimic and tried to follow the pattern, the flow that this individual was around. Why, after all, if they thought that I was selling and I was just down the street, they felt more comfortable. I simply learned to be all things to all people, and occasionally I won some over. So when you get into a home, get to know your customer. In the first few minutes, look for little clues of discussion. People love it when the salesman has something in common with them. Now, you don't need to act like you know something they admire, but you can certainly admire it and let them talk about it. Let me give you an example. If the customer has a signed Babe Ruth baseball, and you're not a baseball fan, you can at least admire it enough to say, man, John, I noticed that you got a Babe Ruth baseball up there on your mantle. Dude, that is incredible. Tell me the story. How did you get it? If you have a common bond with the item, you'd just be ahead of the game. But even if you didn't, let them tell you the story. Ultimately, if you genuinely are interested in the customer's well-being and genuinely want to provide them a solution, you're going to succeed. Okay? Now that you've done this, now that you've warmed it up a little bit, taken a little time, there is no rush, then begin to transition into the system demonstration. So the next step is to sit down with a customer so that you can begin the explanation for the meeting and the demonstration of the system. While I encourage every sales rep to carry a demo kit for a live presentation, they can also use a cardboard keypad or a demo downloaded on a tablet or PC. The key is to do a successful presentation is in knowing how to use the flip book and the electronic presentation or keypad in the context of the presentation. So in order to transition over, here's a few lines that you should follow. Now, John and Mary, why don't we sit down so I can show you the power of this new technology? The best place is the kitchen, as we will also discuss fire protection. All right? The reason we recommend the kitchen is to present at the one location where people usually go to pay their bills. If they got all their bills and they're sitting down with their checkbook, where do they go? They go to the kitchen. So it's already mentally acceptable to go there. If they are comfortable paying their bills at the kitchen, they may be comfortable enough to write you a check should you get an approval to succeed. The next thing you're going to do is sit down and open the flip book or tablet and begin. Now, John and Mary, let me explain why we're having this promotion. And it starts with something that would look like this. We've designed this here at Dynamark for our authorized partners. I love the fact that we can show this. I love the fact that you can put it as a PDF right on the electronic tablet, or you can have a nice little flip book you can just flip. I'm all about three-dimensional, so I like to carry the flip book. And you can put your partner logo in there. You don't need to really change much other than a small few changes. As we mentioned, John and Mary, we told you that we were having the national promotion to roll out the new technology on the phone call, correct? Well, listen, I think we all know that everyone needs life protection. But here's the problem. Most people never get around to getting it. And here's why. Because they don't know enough about the service, the product, or the price. First of all, the service. You want the right protection from a company you can trust, right, John and Mary? Here's the problem. You don't know who you can trust. Secondly, product. You want the very best system available. Isn't that right? Of course. The problem is you don't know which is the best product. And finally, price. You want a plan that's affordable. Am I right? Absolutely. Here's the problem. You don't know what's in the industry considered to be a fair price. So the best part about us contacting you, knocking on your door, whatever that is, you can say, with our national promotion, families are going to be able to enjoy all these benefits. Now, let me stop and jump back to the presentation book. As I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and roll out the new technology. Most people think we're selling security alarm systems. However, these are smart home systems. The system is so new that our monitoring partner, or you could use the manufacturing partner. For example, if you use 2GIG, or if you use Dynamark, or if you use a Guardian, or a Vector, or ADT, or Monotronics, you might use one of their names, or Honeywell, or Interlogics, or 2GIG, or anything like that, or Qualsys, is rolling out this new promotion across the country. And as your local dealer, we found out that the best method of marketing is brand awareness, meaning that for every one sign that we place in the yard and it's seen by the public, we typically sell 1 to 2 additional systems to your neighbors. See, that's why we waive the equipment and the installation, John and Mary. As long as you take care of the monthly monitoring fee and the small one-time activation, this system, which sells for over, and that's the number that you want to put in there, on the certificate, you'll notice that it says $1,200 retail value. Okay, that's what we've designed. You can use whichever one you want. This system, which sells for over $1,200, will be our gift to you. It's less expensive to give away a few systems than to spend thousands of dollars in marketing and advertising costs. And John and Mary, word of mouth referral is the best form of marketing. Wouldn't you agree? Now, have you ever seen a demo of this system? I'm going to show you here in just a minute how it works. But first of all, most people will make a decision based on 3 important factors: service, product, and price. Now, depending on how you flow it, guys, you're going to go ahead and say the entry level that I just read, and then step into the service, product, and price right here. Okay, let me go back to this. But either way, it doesn't matter. You're going to talk about the national promotion, the service, product, price, and then you're going to start with service. So let's first of all talk about service. All right? And that's where we'll start. The sales rep will follow the slide prompts to talk about the value of the local alarm company, a central station partner, and possibly the platform company like Alarm.com. The good news, guys, if you do get this, you certainly could take it anywhere and have it modified. It is a PDF. You can unlock it, and you can change it the way you need to. We won't do that for you unless you're one of our partners or one of our wholesale dealers. But if you are, we'll help design this for you at no additional charge. So the first page is, of course, talks about your company. And this logo here, if it was one of our partners on the call, Southern Alarm out of Savannah, Georgia. He could put his logo here. He is a Dynamark authorized partner. And he may say, listen, the beauty is you're going to get a local presence. We're right in town in Savannah, and you're backed by the national brand of Dynamark. And then any additional information you want to add there. The next benefit is that Dynamark Security Centers, who is our central station, has been around for over 40 years protecting home and businesses, one of the top 5 security companies in the nation, and over 200 satisfied customers throughout the U.S., something of that nature. And then you might even want to put in alarm.com. Of course, we also add the second piece about our 5-diamond central station. I won't belabor all this information, but you can see the facts about our company listed here. So a little bit about your company, a little bit about maybe your central station, and maybe a little bit about the platforms such as alarm.com or Total Connect, something of that nature, just showing the technology that is offered. Then the second thing you're going to bring up is the product, all right? And the product, of course, is whichever brand of product you're using. As an example, guys, we're using Interlogics on the screen, and we also do talk here a little bit about the alarm.com technology, okay? So we'll tie this together. You can do whatever you want, and you can mention about simple operation from anywhere in the world of that nature. Let me go back to this next section. The next step is to present the core system that will be part of the promotional offer. Any other equipment beyond your standard promotional package will be included, will be added to the basic during the walk around. I call this demonstration the levels of life protection. Whether I'm invited into the home via an appointment or a door knock, the same process ensures consistency. Remember, the simpler the process, the easier it is to follow. Let me go back again to the flip book. So, John and Mary, we install the product known as Interlogics. In this case, this is an example of the system that you'll be getting. And it also is connected to a platform called alarm.com. It's what allows your system to have simple operation from anywhere in the world. You can control it from your smartphone. You'll be connected to what's happening around the world. You'll receive text notification system alerts on your smartphone and PC. And, of course, you'll have the strength of a national manufacturer. Now, what I want to talk about, John and Mary, is what really is the core of the system and what makes it great. And we call it the 5 levels of life protection. All right, so everyone see the screenshot here. I'm going to go back to the proper sales presentation, and I'm going to show you what you can use as an exact, let me go back here, exact description about what you'll say at the home about the levels of life protection. I do want to point out here that please familiarize yourself thoroughly with the system and memorize this script before you attempt to conduct this demo. Then conduct a presentation for your sales manager before using it in the home. As I like to say in training over the years, it's better to sweat in training than it is to go out and bleed in combat. So let me just read it through with you. Now, this is where I would flip to the flip book, and if I have a demo kit, I'll open it up. If I have a cardboard keypad, I would pull it out, or if I have a next screenshot on my tablet, I would show it to them of the system. Now, John and Mary, let me explain a little bit about our product. In this case, we'll call it the Interlogics system. The Simon or maybe the 2 gig system that you're using, smart home system. We offer 5 levels of life protection. Each level is unique for the protection of your home and family. You will receive a touchpad. Let me just grab my pointer here so I can let you follow it. You'll receive a touchpad, okay? And this one that we will install in your home. It's very easy to use, even easier than a telephone. When you make a phone call, you're dialing somewhere between 7 to 10 numbers, right? Well, with our system, you simply use 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 as a code. The system can have 6 or more passcodes, so each family member can have their own. It even tells whether the system is armed or not with both a readout display and arm and ready lights. If applicable, let me read this section. Our system also comes with 2-way voice, or you could use your video image sensor technology. This feature is what really sets our system apart from all others. By the way, I want to stop and say this. We at Dynamark have been beta testing with Alarm.com video verification. We are not purchasing alarm accounts from our partners using video verification. But if you own your own accounts and you would like to begin selling video verification on your in-house accounts, get in touch with your regional, let them know you're interested. We'll get in touch with the key people at Dynamark who can set that up. That is another great feature that we just rolled out with Alarm.com, and I believe we're one of the first central stations to actually offer video verification. This feature is really what sets apart our system from the others with, and once again, either two-way voice or image censoring. If any emergency occurs, police, fire, medical, the command center can talk you through the situation to give you the best possible protection. It's like having your own safety officer whenever you need them. If a burglary occurs, they will first either listen in or view footage in for a few seconds to see if they can hear or see a burglary event in progress. Now, if you're selling both two-way voice and an image sensor, you could say both. In this case, if a burglary occurs, they will listen in and they will view footage in a few seconds to see if they can hear and or see a burglary event in progress. Then they can dispatch if needed. The best part about the new smart home system, as I mentioned earlier, is that every smartphone in the family can also be used as a keypad. And, John and Mary, you can control it from anywhere in the world. I think you'd agree that's the level of technology everyone should have, right? Smile and nod. Remember earlier, what did I say, guys? Smile, nod your head yes, say their name often. By the way, does anybody know how many times I've said their name? I'll guarantee you so far it's already at least 15 to 18 times. Okay? But nobody says to me, please stop saying my name. I hate the sound of it. No, guys, everybody loves to hear their name. And it's bringing you into their circle of trust. Just keep remembering that. All right. That's that section. Let's start with the first level. Now, John and Mary, the first level of protection is burglary protection. When you are ready to leave your home, you simply place your system in the away mode. Now, of course, I have this parentheses. If there's a code you press first, you would show them how to do that. I think we all agree that most systems now is just a one-push leaving mechanism. If you're the owner on the call or a manager, you're going to need to teach your reps how to use the system. They will give your family approximately 45 seconds to grab your things, close the door. When you return and open the door, a little chirp will sound, beep, 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 or it might even say, front door open. It's reminding you, welcome home, John and Mary. There haven't been any break-ins, but please come over here and turn me off before the siren goes off. So when everyone is ready to go to bed at night, you place your system in the no delay mode. It's an instant alarm. If a bad guy decides to try your house and he pops open the door with a crowbar, bam, and that's what I do. I clap my hands. I go make a loud sound, The siren's going off. It is very loud, John and Mary. The system's going to take over all phone lines and will send the signal to our command center. Now, let me stop and say, if you're using your video presentation and you can do that on the video and it makes the loud siren through your tablet, that's even better. In less than 1 minute, we know who you are. We know where you live. Excuse me, guys. We even know what part of the house the bad guy is trying to come in at. See, this is a very intelligent system. John and Mary, wouldn't you agree with me that that's the type of burglary protection people need for their family? And you're going to nod your head yes. They're going to nod with you. They're looking at you. They're nodding yes. The second level of protection is police dispatch. Let's say you get up in the middle of the night. You go to get a glass of water. You're standing in the kitchen. You're drinking your water. You're sort of half asleep. You turn and look, and there's a man standing outside with his hands cupped around his eyes, his face pressed against the back door, trying to look in. By the way, if you could see me right now, guys, I'm here talking on the phone. I'm still would be using my hands. I would be the one looking at Mary probably and saying, he's looking in at you, Mary. He's got his hands cupped around his face, and he's looking in the window seeing if he could get in. Okay? So I'm doing all of these visual features while we're talking. I don't think you're going to stand there. You're not going to wave to him, right, Mary, and say, come on in, I'm just waiting for the alarm to go off. No, of course not. You're going to be going, oh, my God. You're going to be freaking out. At that point, I want you to run over to the system, hold down the police dispatch button, and then the full-blown siren will go off. It will send a signal to the command center, and they will dispatch the police immediately. The whole time, if you have the two-way voice, they will be listening in on the silent mode to make sure that there's any sounds or words being exchanged. They can convey that information to the authorities. John and Mary, the best part is this service is there for you 24/7, even if the system's not on. Now, I hope you never have to use that service, but isn't it nice to know you have it just in case? What am I doing again, guys? I'm smiling and I'm nodding my head. Yes. The third level of protection is medical emergency. Now, John and Mary, two things can happen in a medical situation. One is if you have a medical condition like diabetes, asthma, epilepsy. Let me ask you, do any of you have, anyone in the family, have any kind of medical conditions in the home? And I wait for the answer. Well, if there is, we can add this information into your profile so if a need occurs, when we dispatch the medical team, they can have the life-saving medicine ready. The other is a medical event that you never see coming. Let me give you an example, John and Mary. You mentioned earlier you've got your little kids. Mary, let's say you're cooking dinner. You turn your back for a moment. Your little toddler, Adam, grabs the pan handle with something hot. Before you realize it, as he pulls down, it's heading downward. Oh, my God, could you imagine what that would feel like? Or, John, let's say you're getting out of the tub. You feel yourself beginning to slip. You grab for anything you can, and you grab the shower curtain. That's not going to hold you. And bam, it comes loose, and you hit your head first in the corner of the countertop. Okay? And then, of course, you can use any of these other examples. Then I turn to him, I say, now is when you need help. By simply hitting the buttons for medical, help's on the way. In a few seconds, the command center will come on the other end and will ask you, we have received a medical emergency. Is everything all right? Then they can help keep you calm and talk you through until the paramedics arrive. John and Mary, if you ever need it in the future, we can even add a medical pendant or wristband to the system, giving you a medical support system anywhere in the home. Now, isn't that the type of medical protection you'd want for your family? What am I doing? I'm smiling and I'm nodding my head slowly up and down and basically getting them to agree with me. The more I can get them to mentally agree, the more they're going to agree for a yes at the end. The fourth level of protection is ambush hostage. This is a situation when you are in a duress mode. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're coming home from, or better yet, let's say Tina, your daughter, you told me earlier you've got a daughter in high school, comes along, and she's coming home from school. She puts her keys in the door. All of a sudden, some guy's been watching her behind the bushes, jumps out and says, get in, turn off your system. I know you've got one. Don't try anything stupid. Now, we don't want anyone in the home to be a hero. We just want them to go over to the panel and punch in the 4-digit code that makes it look like they've turned off the system. What they've actually done is they've sent a silent signal that you're a hostage in your own home. At that moment, we will dispatch all available units. It's the highest priority code any law enforcement agency will receive. There will be no flashing lights. There will be no sirens. However, they will quietly surround your house. They will have the flak jackets, shotguns. John and Mary, it's like having a SWAT team in your front yard. And best of all, the command center, if you have two-way voice, is silently listening the whole time to give important information to police. And finally, John and Mary, the last but most important level is the threat of fire. Now, when a fire starts, you can't scare it away. You can't handcuff it. You can't tell it to get out. You have to get out. See, here are the facts. A fire doubles in size every 30 seconds, and a house on fire can be in a runaway mode in less than 5 minutes. But here's a simple fact, John and Mary. People don't die from the flames. They die from and this is where I stop, and I don't say anything. And guess what they're going to say every time? They're going to say smoke, or they're going to say smoke inhalation, and you're going to go, exactly. See, you're breathing in toxic, noxious, poisonous fumes. You're becoming dizzy, disoriented. You can't see your hand in front of your face. You won't be able to find the phone, let alone answer questions. See, seconds are ticking down. You must get the fire department to the home and get out. All you have to do, John and Mary, is press the button for the fire and get out. Then the command center will come up on the speaker, if you have the two-way voice, alerting you to get your family, get out of the house. They'll be yelling it out. They will yell out to help to awaken any sleeping children in the home. Then make sure everyone meets at one pre-selected spot. A lamppost or a tree away from the house is a good place. When we walk around in a minute, we'll look for a good place near the front door. That way, everyone knows if someone's still missing. You can also upgrade your fire protection by adding smoke communicators to the system. You wouldn't even have to hit the buttons. Your communicator is constantly sniffing the air for smoke. If it senses enough in the home, it seizes the phone lines, sends a signal immediately. Even if you're knocked out by smoke, the fire department can grab you and carry you out of the home before it's too late. Now, John and Mary, wouldn't you agree with me that this is the type of smart home system you need for your family? By the way, everything that's in bold, you'll notice, is the conversation I'm having with them. So when you're teaching your reps this, refer to the bold. Back to our conversation. By now, as you guys can imagine, the family is hanging on your every word. Now, I know that some of these things are a little archaic. For example, it doesn't seize the phone lines because it's already on a radio. But in a way, the words are still the same. The family is like hanging on your every word. They clearly believe that this system, even if you told them it was $0 down or a gift or free, they now believe, when you said earlier, it's about a $1,200 system normally, they believe you. They're like, oh my God. And they don't want to miss the opportunity to get the system. So the next step incorporates the review of the home, or as I like to call it, the walk around. But before we do that, here's what we say next. Now, John and Mary, because of this promotional offer, you will receive, and let's go back to the flip book. So let's talk about price. Today, because of the national promotion, you're going to receive the TalkLane wireless home control unit with keypad and built-in siren, 3 contacts you can use on doors or windows, a wide-range motion sensor, a remote key fob. Of course, if you guys don't use that, that's fine. 2-way voice communication capability or image sensor video capability. 24-hour monitoring, windows decals, and a yard sign. You could also, by the way, when you're talking about it, you would say to them, if you were to call us today and you would have a salesman come out, the value of the system is approximately $1,200. At this point, you're pulling out the certificate and you're showing everything I just said, so that's something they can hold on to and look at while you're showing the flip book. See, they believe it when they see it visually. They believe it when they can touch it and hold on to it. Okay? And as I go back and I finish on the flip book, I say, however, because of the promotion, this is something you can take advantage of today. But to waive $1,200, there are some conditions. I'll go back to the flip book just because I'm flipping back and forth. We do have some conditions, and here they are. Number 1, you must be a homeowner with approved credit. We can't simply give someone $1,200 not knowing that they're not going to be using it and committed to paying the monthly bill. There is a one-time activation fee. And, of course, I write as low as it could be $99 for your company, $49, $69. You'll have to adjust this as you feel fit. And the standard monthly monitoring fee at $49.95, $69.95, whatever it is you charge. That's it, John and Mary. There's no surprises. No hidden costs. We also leave the minimum credit score of 600, or maybe if it's your company, 650, whatever you want to put on there. And I say it. That's it, John and Mary. There's no surprises. There's no hidden costs, okay? So let me ask you a question. We'll waive all these costs provided you can meet these conditions. On a scale of 1 to 10, John and Mary, with 10 being the highest, how would you rate your credit score? And they're going to tell you. They're going to say, oh, it's 8. Oh, we're fine. Or we're 9. Oh, I don't know. Haven't done it in a while. That's okay. Tell you what. Let me go ahead and slide this over to you, or if you've already handed it to them, see the certificate in your hand? Go ahead and just fill this information out. Now, guys, I want you to know that I've left 2 spaces for name, address, city, state. I don't know what it says V. It should be Z for the zip code, and signature. If you want to also insert any places that you want to put Social Security or any other information that you as a company need in order to obtain some form of credit score, that is your call. I'm only leaving this as basic information that you need in order to obtain it. As you'll notice, a couple more things that I'll notice on here for you to see. It says, system, these are the disclaimers. System must be monitored by designated command center for a period of 60 months and only $49.95 per month or less based on service plan with ACH or credit payment. One-time $99 setup fee required. Local permit fees may be required. Home ownership and sanitary credit card history is required. Signature of certificate from each dealer to obtain credit inquiry. Call for details. Whether you have them do it electronically, whether you have them do it on a certificate, once they fill it out, the best part is, what did I say to them? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think you are? I don't know, an 8, a 7, a 10, a 9, a 2. That's okay. Let me go ahead and get that back from you, and I'll find out real quick. Once you run the credit, and if it's below 600 and you just require more money, you can just deal with it at the moment. But let's assume for a moment they have a 700 credit score. I'm going to get it back and say, hey, John and Mary, great news. You two are all qualified for the system. So the activation fee in this case is $99, and the monthly fee is $49.95 per month. That should cover the majority of your security needs. However, what I'd like to now do is a quick walkthrough of the home with you, just in case there are any needs that we should address. Why don't we start at the front door? I'll show you where each device in the promotional package will go, and if during this time you have any additional concerns for protection, I will let you know the cost and let you know, and you'll let me know if you want to add them. Fair enough? Let's start at the front door. Now, this I do even if I'm door knocker or a full-blown company lead invited presentation. I'm going to do that. Now, I'm going to stop, and I know this is rhetorical because you can't answer because you're muted, but isn't it funny? I lock down the deal of the promotional system even if I go beyond this. You notice I don't continue to design the system until I first notify them that they've been approved for the standard system. And why is that? I'll tell you a little story. Years ago, I was in the nursery business, and a guy owned a greenhouse, and he told me a valuable lesson. He said, this guy came in and he wanted 5 plants, and they were very expensive 5 plants, and we set them aside. I got so excited because he had money to spend because he drove up in a fancy car, and I said, you should get this and this and this and this and this and this. And as I began to sell, he said, the guy threw his hands up, said, forget it, I'm not interested. He got in his car and drove away. He never got the sale. And I learned long ago, lock down what they want, or what they need, and then help them design what they want. If you get that out of the way, at least you're 99% going to get the promotional package. You can always upsell later. Let's move on. The walk around. This type of marketing method will determine the length of the walk around. The step is the primary difference in the amount of time spent in a presentation. The step can add up to 30 extra minutes to the presentation if you have an appointment. While it increases the length of time for the presentation, it will usually result in an increased overall upsell of a system to the customer. A door knock sale rarely exceeds $250, but a preset appointment can increase the purchase investment to as high as $1,000. It simply depends on the sales rep and their experience. Below are the next steps to follow. Start at the front door. This is the area you entered, so this is the location you start. Point out doors and protection and general motion location, as we mentioned, of the package that they're getting for the promotional offer. Then mention to the homeowner the location that everyone should meet outside if a fire in the home were to occur, and pinpoint the location of the owner's smoke detectors. Discuss the need to add smoke communicators and mention the cost for each one. So what we do is we start to walk around where we first entered the home. That's the front door, typically the front door. However, it could be the side door. Either way, go to that door you started at. It's established as one of the contacts you use in the standard package. If you have 3 contacts, you pick the 3 most vulnerable doors. If your package has 10 contacts, you'll pick the 10 vulnerable areas that they want the most. So if the lead was generated, let's talk about a door knock walk around. If it's a door knock, you're going to be sensitive to the prospect's time. After focusing on the primary areas of protection using the standard package, that's the 3 doors and a motion, I focus on one major device of protection, the monitored smoke communicator. Notice I do not call it a smoke detector. A smoke detector only detects smoke and makes a loud sound. However, without the ability to send signals to a command center. That device simply makes it a noisemaker. If you're not in the home, you cannot respond to call the fire department. So after pointing out the basic areas of protection using the standard package, I find a smoke detector and I ask the next question. Remember, this is a door knock. John and Mary, I noticed you have smoke detectors. Do you have any smoke communicators in the home? And I shut up. What do they say? Oh, what's that? What's a smoke communicator? Well, I mentioned earlier that when we were talking about the smoke detectors and smoke communicators, all smoke detectors do is a loud noise. They're not going to communicate. These communicate. We'll put them installed. They're a more advanced level. They're going to be smoke ionization. They're going to notice if there's enough particulates in the air, and then it sends a primary signal to the command center that you have a house on fire. That's when we will then Call in, and if we have two-way voice built in, we can actually talk to you through the system. We have received the fire signal. Everyone get out and get out of the home. If you're talking to us hands-free, you could simply say, hey, it's okay. We burned something. We got control. Or, oh, my God, we're getting out now. We're getting out now. And they'll be yelling out to everyone to wake them up to get out of the house. Regardless, if anyone answers or not, John Mary, if there's a real fire, then we're dispatching the fire department to the home. It's a one-time fee of, let's call it $199 for that smoke communicator. There's no additional charge to the monthly fee, of course, unless you have one. And with a monitored smoke communicator, your homeowner insurance may offer you an additional discount on your policy. But let's face it, peace of mind is the biggest benefit. Don't ask for the sale then. Just simply let them think about it. So let's go ahead and I'll show you the rest of the motion's going to go in this room, the other contact's going to go there, and the third contact's going to go there. Now, if I'm door knocking, the main thing I'm going to focus on is fire protection. If you guys feel comfortable enough as door knockers that you can do a full presentation like I'm going to show in a minute with an appointment, feel free to do so. But at least you should always bring up fire protection, okay? The final step is to go back to the table, turn your flip book page to the fire page. I don't even have it turned there yet. All I do is I have it turned to right here. By then, I've gone ahead here. I've gotten to the walk around of the home, okay? And then when I get back to, I stop here, I get up from the table after I turn to this page, I do the walk around, talk about the fire protection, and when I get back here, after a door knock, I say, as I mentioned to you, with monitored smoke detectors, you're going to receive all these benefits. Okay, and I just read these off one more time. And that's when I ask them, John and Mary, would you like to add a monitored smoke communicator to the package? And the reason I do that is I can sit down and just line item write it right into the paperwork and begin that process. Look at it this way. If you could get a 99 activation and a 199 smoke, or maybe the 199 smoke allows you to waive the 99. That's up to you guys. But imagine walking out of the house with an average upsell of $250 on a door knock. That is a lot more cash coming in and a lot more happy sales reps. Okay? So that should cover that part of door knocking. If you get an appointment and you walk around, there's only a small difference. The key difference between a door knock, walk around, and an appointment is the time you have to spend with the customer. Because they knew you were coming, take the time to conduct a proper presentation. To be successful, this type of walkthrough is the more methodical approach and the need to cover each room. In each room, you determine whether they need security needs, life safety devices like smoke, heat, carbon, Z-Wave needs, or video needs. So you do have some more time to talk about each one. Now, this is not a time for me to go in and teach you guys all about every device. You need to talk to your owners and your managers to teach you what every device can do, and you need to decide what it is you sell and what you don't sell. But I always follow the design the same. I start at the front door, and then I go room by room, and I talk about these. By the way, if you guys are wondering, when I sold 10,000 alarm systems, by the way, 8,000 installed, 10,000 sales, you might wonder, selling that many systems, did you upsell? I did exactly what I'm telling you. I went back to the front door, even though I was on the phone, and I would talk them through each one of the rooms until I finished. So I would say something like this. Now, John and Mary, in this room, right here near the front door, you have the dining room. I see that there are two windows that are pretty exposed. So I would want to say this, because I noticed that they are in the front, you may not be as worried about them, but you do have these high bushes right here. Now I'm going to stop and go forward here. I continue to walk around, but I always like to bring up little things, what I call is add-ons, value-added ideas that the customer can do, whether they purchase a system for you or not. It conveys to the customer that you care more about their money themselves than their money. And remember this wise saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So show them you care by mentioning a few ideas, such as, I noticed this is the dining room, and we walked up to the front door. You have these bushes along the front window that are quite high. To prevent a burglar from being hidden from view, I suggest you trim them to a low enough level that neighbors could see them should they try to call on the window and you're not here. Okay, that's a value-added idea that I'm not asking for the sale. Just a great idea. And they'll look at you and go, wow, that's a great idea. I didn't think about that. Thank you. Now, did you want to add these windows? We can do that. Each window would cost $80 per window. There's no additional fee. did you want to add these dining room windows? And they'll go, no, $80 per window? No, I'm okay. So you go to the next room. Okay, the next room is the living room. Same thing. I have 2 windows here on the side. Okay, they're a little bit more hidden, but you don't have any bushes here. Did you want to add these windows? They're $80 per window. No, I'm okay. Okay, let's go back to the kitchen. Then boom, maybe I'm talking about a heat detector. Let's go over here to the kids. Now, I noticed here that you have one of your daughters, Rachel, is in this room, and because Rachel's here, I think we should protect this room. She's 4 years old. I'd feel a lot more comfortable. Yeah, oh yeah, we definitely want to do these 2 windows. They're $80. Are you okay with that? 80? So 80 plus 80 is 160 plus the original package price of the $99. Are you okay with those? Yes. Okay, and of course we got the smoke communicator for $199. Just want to make sure. Okay, yeah, and you know what they're doing, don't you? They're mentally adding it up in their mind. You could even add it up with them if you'd like. You can go back and add it up with them when you get back. Doesn't matter. Most importantly, I want to point out, do not leave any walk around without addressing the need for smoke communicators in the home. Refer to the walk around process in the door nexting section. Once you return to the table and address the smoke issue, it's time to tabulate the total investment to the homeowner. The good news is that every step along the way, they've calculated their level of comfort to the price. If during the suggested additions you begin to see the customer squirm a bit, it's their cue to have you slow down and back off from building the system too large. I couldn't see them, but I could hear it on the phone. They'd be go, I don't know, and you could hear their voice squirming. So over those 6 years I sold on the phones, I learned a valuable response. Here's what I say. You know what, John and Mary? Just so you know, you can always add to the system later should you see the need. And they go, oh, really? Oh, okay. It's a pretty good indicator that you know when you're pushing too hard and you can back off. That usually gives the prospect enough room, comfort to slow down or stop me. It's the best line to prevent you from losing the sale. Okay? Now, the best advice I can give a sales rep is to ask questions throughout the presentation. My success as a sales rep, and I won the presidential award with the largest company in America, was to keep asking questions. It's not about me telling them stuff. And you'll notice it's about me asking questions. And why is that? It keeps the sales rep in control while giving a voice to the prospect. And finally, we get to the paperwork. So as I'm here at the last flip book, and by the way, you'll notice there's no more pages than this. Okay, this is where his expertise has to step in. Let me go back here, sorry guys, and go back to the presentation. As I wrap up, I go ahead and I get out the paperwork. Now I say the final step of the 4-point process is paperwork. I call it the paperwork, but it is the closing process of the presentation. It's where all your efforts culminate into a sale, and the prospect now becomes the customer, provided you've won them over. So here's what I start again. Now, John and Mary, you've been approved for the standard system with this gift, and I show them the certificate that they filled out. So regardless of what else you decide to add to this basic package, the equipment costs and installation fees are paid for this certificate. All I'll need in a minute is to check for the $99 and anything else you want to add on top of that. But if you add nothing else, we can start there. And you already know pretty much because you already wrote down what they want as you walked around. Now, as we walked around, we said all 3 doors would be covered and motion would go into the main area near the stairway. We then agreed that there were some additional items you wanted to add that you were concerned about. Most importantly, with a smoke communicator, you said you felt most safe to have 2 located on each floor. Now, each one's $199, which would bring the total package with one-time activation to $500. Did you still want to add those? Oh, yeah, we do one of that. Okay, great. Now, in Rachel's bedroom, you said that the back room needed a contact. That fee is a one-time fee. I'm just going to make this easy for now, guys. It's $100. That's going to bring it to $600. Did you want to add that? Absolutely want to do that. Okay. In the den, you had 4 windows that you could use some protection. Because you cannot be open, we agreed one glass break device was a better option. It would add $200 to the system, bringing the total to $700. Would you like to keep that in the design? Oh, yeah, we're definitely okay with that. Remember, guys, you've been pacing them the whole time. They knew it was $700. There was no shocker. And I've been going back and forth with them. If they backed off a little bit, they would have shown me earlier. So all I'm now is at the points that they've already agreed to they can afford. I'm reiterating it. They're in agreement, so they know the total cost. I didn't spend 5 minutes adding it up and go, hey, John and Mary, it's $1,417. Did you want to give me a check like the guy did earlier? These are examples. However, you can see the template I've created. Or you may have designed a complete system and they seemed comfortable with additional costs. You never want to go back to the table and hit them with one huge price. It will overwhelm them. Instead, add the most important devices that have both parties in full agreement, then work downward on what you sense was not as important to them. Remember the get out of jail response we created. Just so you know, you can always add to this system later should you see a need. Okay? So here's how I wrap it up. So John and Mary, I think we have an agreement on the right system for your family. So to recap, your total one-time investment is $700 with a monthly fee of $49.95. Does that work for you? Yeah, sounds good. Great. Okay, 9 times out of 10, they're happy. They're in full agreement. You should be ready to move forward. Therefore, your next step involves asking questions to move them committed steps into the installation. The next best question to ask is this one. Great. Now, once we install the system, if an alarm goes off, after we call the home and dispatch, we begin calling the emergency contact list. Besides your cell phone, we will want 3 additional people you trust in an emergency. Who is that first person? They're going to give it to you. That's the most effective closing question. If they hesitate, it's time to stop and see why they're not committed. Remember, a good salesman will get 6 no's before he goes. And a no is not necessarily a no. It usually means I still don't know why I should say yes. The sales rep has to dig down. We'll discuss objections in future module training. By the way, I do these trainings on a somewhat regular basis, and you're always going to be welcome to attend. If you get a registration invitation, make sure you register. The next question involves the money part. It's important to do everything in your power to obtain a check for one-time investment as well as a voided check, unless electronic, to establish the monthly monitoring through ACH. If anybody hasn't ever known what ACH stands for, it's Automated Clearinghouse. Some people think it means auto checking. It's Automated Clearinghouse. It means it's going to come out of that checking account once a month. Credit card transactions are not as reliable as checking. Hear me. Do not try to get credit card and get Automatic Clearinghouse. After all, how many credit cards do most people carry, and how many times have they changed it in the last 5 years? But how much has your checking account changed in 5 years? As you can see, ACH is the preferred method of collection for the monthly monitoring. So here's what I say for that. Now, John and Mary, to ensure your services are always paid so that we are always monitoring for you no matter what emergency occurs, we set your account for automatic payment to your checking account, similar to most insurances you now have. Just like your insurance, you want to make sure you have it paid should you need it, right? All I need is a voided check to schedule the payment. Which day of the month's good for you? Boom. So you've got 2 things out of the way. And then the final section involves the commitment for the customer to sign the agreement. While 3-year agreements are acceptable, the industry's proven that the customers that are with their alarm company 5 years have an increased likelihood of staying for years to come. And that's a good investment for us. We have written the following manual to state that the rate does not go up for the term in the agreement. If your company increases the rate, you'll just need to change your manual a little bit. At Dynamark, we do not go up for the term. So here's what we say. Now, John and Mary, security monitoring is similar to most utilities. Water, electric, phone. You pay it monthly as long as you have the service. The difference between our company and the others is that they usually increase in cost every year. We're different. We lock the monthly fee not to go up for the term of the agreement. So you will not see an increase in your monthly bill for the next 60 months. Pretty great, huh? Just an issue here that our promise was made to you to lock in your rate for the term of the agreement. And that's where on our agreements, we require them to sign an initial that they know that. Some sales reps prefer to give the customer an option. That's up to them. You could say it this way. John and Mary, security monitoring is similar to most utilities, water, electric, phone. You pay monthly as long as you have the service. The difference between our company and the others is that you usually increase in cost every year. We're different. We lock the monthly fee not to go up for the term of the agreement. So we can lock in your rate for 3 years or 5 years. Which do you prefer? Just an issue here that our promise was made to lock in the rate for the term of the agreement. So that way it's optional versus the first one is assumptive. Once all documents are signed, I like to fold their papers and insert them in an envelope that they can put in a safe place should they need to access them in the future. I also like to ask each one of them which part of the system gave them the most peace of mind. I then write their name, so John dash, let's say it was fire protection, dash, my wife is a horrible cook, something like that. And, but something serious. Maybe for the mother, it's Mary dash Tina comes home from school alone. I'm sorry, Tina dash, what was it, hostage ambush. Tina, the daughter, comes home alone. Okay, something that gives her peace of mind. And then I just write that on there. I might write my name and number on there as a salesman. I tell them, go put this in a safe place so that if anything would ever happen, they know where it's at. If they think what the benefit of this, what I just did and showed you, is if they think about canceling, they'll have to grab the envelope to call the company. Reading the front of the envelope makes them feel secure that they made a good decision and prevents buyer's remorse. If they read John, fire protection, and Mary, hostage ambush, Tina goes home alone, they're less likely to cancel. If you're using electronic documents, I would suggest leaving a business card or sending an email and writing down which attributes were important to them. And finally, the referral. So we're done the paperwork. I look at them. I basically say to them, this is the last step in the presentation. It's to ask for a favor. The favor is a referral. You will quickly find out that if you have earned their trust, they will have no problem helping your business grow by being an advocate for you and giving you at least one referral. Here's how it has worked well for me over the years. So I'm done. I put everything away, and I pull out one more certificate. I'll refer you to this certificate right here. Look just like that. Now, John and Mary, I was wondering if you could do me a favor. I consider an honor that you've chosen me to help protect your family and your home. And I take pride in my job providing peace of mind to families. So I really, truly appreciate the business. So as a thank you, our company authorizes me to give someone you love and care about the same certificate you received for the gift of a system at no equipment or installation costs. Show them the certificate that was in the packet. I always bring two. One to be filled out by the homeowner that goes back into the packet. Remember earlier I said this is like a check of $1,200 plus the activation, any upsells you buy. But this certificate you filled out will go back to me with the company. And the second certificate I pull out is for them to give to someone they love and care about. So in this certificate, we could give to someone you love and care about. And as a thank you back to you, once they have the system installed, you'll get whatever you guys do, a $100 gift card, free monitoring, a check. Who's that one person that comes to your mind right now? I'll tell you a little quick story and we're almost done. I remember one day I was knocking doors and I knocked about 3 doors. On the 4th door, the lady's dog was barking, but the girl comes home to the 3rd door, and I said, we just knocked on your mother's home door, and nobody answered. She goes, my mom's inside. We went back, talked to her, told her about the promotional offer. We went in and wrote the system. I said, I have one more certificate, and I pulled it out and said, someone you love and care about. She called the lady up, and they scheduled an appointment to go back to see her, which they wrote up 2 days later. When I came out the door, they were done that side of the street, so we jumped to the next street. We knocked one door, nobody was home. The second door, we went to that guy's house. He invited us in, about 740 credit score. We wrote it up, and I said, now we have one more certificate. And we pulled another one out. One person in this neighborhood that you love and care about. He goes, my mom across the street, but she was so old she couldn't understand the value. I said, well, listen, this is worth a $100 check to you. Who's one other person? He goes, my buddy Gary. We walked down the street, and the reps were walking up on the other side of the street and already passed Gary's house. They had already knocked it, and Gary wasn't interested. As I'm walking to Gary's house, they said, hey, we've already knocked that door. They're not interested. And I said, yeah, but I got this guy here. He walks up to Gary's house. Let's say his name was Tim. He opens the door. He goes, come on in, Hank. And he goes, Tim. He goes, Gary, it's Tim. He goes, come on in. He goes, Gary, you need to listen to Hank. Hank just sold me a system. I'm getting a smoke communicator. You need to get the smoke communicator because 6 months ago, half your house burned down. That's why you rebuilt it. He goes, sit down, man. Tell me what you got. We wrote that one up. So I knocked 4, 5 doors that night, and we wrote 4 systems knocking 5 doors. Not many people get that kind of response. Why? Because I follow my presentation, and I ask for one more gift. Who's one person you love and care about? Once they give you the name, ask them to call and introduce you to the lead. That prevents you from soliciting a person that could possibly be listed on the do not call. If they're in the neighborhood, get them to walk down with you. You may wonder why you're only asking for one referral. I've learned not to be greedy and first prove to them that you can take care of them and their friend. If you do a good job, you're going to get more referrals. Trust me. If you guys would like to learn more about how to get ongoing referrals after that first one, please watch the on-demand module, Customer Referrals. That's about it, man. I wish you guys success in building and protecting families and providing peace of mind. We're going to unlock it so you guys can ask any questions I have. But that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions for me that we can discuss? Anybody have any questions? I think everybody's unlocked now, so if there's anybody there who wants to ask questions, feel free.
Is there any questions?
You guys are really far away, so if you're asking questions, we can't hear it. Nobody got questions? Has this been helpful for everybody?
Yes.
Very helpful. You said that you're going to send this presentation out to everyone that attended?
I believe it could be possible. I'm not sure how we'll do that because our marketing manager, Jonathan, he's on the call, and I'm not sure if what he would do is send a link out. But I believe there's a way that those who attended can also get the link. If you didn't attend, we don't usually, because if you're not within our organization as a dealer or a partner, you'd have to have a login access to get it. But I believe he can send you guys an invitation to the webinar so you could watch it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after we're done, I can send that out tomorrow.
He'll send it tomorrow. But you could probably watch it in a couple days or Tuesday next week. He'll also put it on our YouTube channel. Jonathan, is it Dynamark Security Centers? Is that our YouTube channel?
The best way to get to the YouTube channel is to go to dynamarkmonitoring.com and then click on it up there. We don't have a custom URL yet for our YouTube channel due to their strict rules about that.
Got it. Does anybody have any last questions? Once again, thanks for attending. We'll continue to do these. We have a lot more trainings available. And if you want to know more about our company to move your accounts or sell accounts or monitor with you, feel free to reach us. Go to the Dynamark Monitoring Contact Us page, and you can fill out information, and we can certainly get in touch with you. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day. Bye.
But even calling them something different. So communicators just makes them think they're getting